Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing well today. And in the last video, we were discussing things related to equality in an organization for all employees, treating everyone with the same approach, with no discrimination, and about diversity and inclusivity. So as I had mentioned in the last video, that today we are going to discuss a very interesting case study related to how a small sort of the way we speak creates a differentiation, a discrimination as well in an organization. So that is one of the lessons to be learned as a part of diversity and inclusivity as well, because it is not just about religion or classism or ethnicity, but it involves a whole lot of aspects related to the designation within an organization as well, and how we should treat people as humans first, then think about their designations while behaving and talking to them. So this case study is all about it, and this case study is about a manufacturing company where how there was a differentiation between the management staff and the workers on how they communicated with each other and how they approached each other by saying what all things. So let's get started. So this case study basically is about a company called McDougall Machine Tools, and so the labor relation at McDougall Machine Tools were considered exceptionally good by management as well as by the union. But socially, labor and management kept apart from each other. Many of the workers were highly skilled craftsmen, and many made a good deal more money than the first line supervisors in the assembly plant, and even more income than the younger engineers and accountants as well, because most of the times in manufacturing companies, the workers, the laborers always get paid for their overtime based on the wages decided by the local government there. So, but no worker had within the living memory had been promoted out of the rank and file into a supervisory job, let alone into higher management. All supervisory jobs were stuffed with young engineering graduates in this company. Now, these two different groups, which is the management, the supervisors, and the workers, which are the laborers, the two groups lived in different parts of the town. Only at occasions such as annual Christmas party that their families met, and they didn't even gel up well with each other, didn't mix. There was no hostility on the job workers, and supervisors used their first names. They joked together, helped each other, and clearly respected each other. But the two groups talked to each other as us and them. And because supervisory jobs tended to, require substantial formal engineering knowledge, both groups apparently thought that this relationship is to be appropriate as the natural order of things to be like us and them. So there was an employee named Gregory Armitage who worked as a part of McDougall Machine Tools as an employee, as a worker. Gregory had come into the plant as a young assembly line worker and then had worked his way up to highly skilled tool setter. He was an ambitious young man deeply interested in engineering. When the local branch of the state university started an evening program in engineering, Gregory was one of the first to enroll. One of the plant's manager taught a course at the university and ran into Gregory at one of the first sessions. He beamed when he recognized one of his workers, and from then on he did everything to help Gregory continue his studies. It was he, for instance, who made sure that Gregory would not be given overtime assignments on evenings when his classes met. He also made sure that Gregory got a full tuition refund from the company, even though the tuition refund plan applied to salaried personnel only. When Gregory got his degree finally, the plant manager warmly congratulated him because he was one of the professor after all. And also someone that, was a well-wisher and supported him throughout his education as well as managing his professional life. So after his graduation, Gregory said to the plant manager that now that I have an engineering degree, how do I apply for promotion to supervisor? I believe I'm fully qualified. You are indeed, said the plant manager, and yet I don't think it can work and I can't recommend you. We in management would welcome you, but I doubt that men will accept you. You are one of them, and one of the younger ones to boot. They aren't going to accept you as one of us, not even if you move yourself and your family to the other side of the town. The men will always wonder whether you are one of us or one of them, because obviously Gregory started as a worker. They'll resent you if you exercise a supervisor's authority, and they will have no respect for you if you don't. And this happens with many of us within our organization, right? Sometimes at a very young age, when an employee is promoted to a senior position and their subordinates, her or their subordinate are senior by age at times or even by experience, but the young person who has been recently promoted is highly skillful, and on the basis of skills that person has been promoted, then the same kind of scenario we see in so many companies around us and within our company as well, that our subordinates at times resent to listen to us because once upon a time when we joined the company we were junior to them, and that this always happens when a junior or a middle level manager is especially promoted to a senior level, and in this case worker to a supervisor, right? So then the plant manager said that I hate to say it, but I think you should try to get a supervisor's job you have earned at some place else, not this company, where you can actually start fresh, and I'll gladly help you to get that job. I'll recommend you. Gregory accepted the offer, and he had a little choice after all, right? So he soon found himself working as a supervisor for another company, where he did very well and became plant manager within a few years. He also found that the plant manager had been right in predicting that he would have to move with his family, because initially he worked as a worker, but now he was a manager. And remember, the culture in the manufacturing houses, the organizations in the place that he worked, in the region that he worked, was treated as us and them. So the workers used to live in a different place and the managers used to live in a different place. So he moved to a different place with his family where the managers lived, and after a few months his wife complained that she had no friends left in the old neighborhood. He himself gradually drifted away from the many friends he had among McDougall workers. In other than blue-collar employment, the line between them and us in the country, now this case study is about United States of America, is quite a bit less pronounced than in the plant, but in most other countries it is equally sharp in the office or in the retail store as well. So whatever we learned through this story, through this case study of McDougall machine tools, the thing to think upon is that, in such a line between them and us, is it a good thing to have it in any plant or in a society? In fact, not just in a manufacturing plant, but also in any category segment of industry, stores, any offices, or in a society as well. if you were a manager, what do you do in this place? Could a management do anything to eliminate in its own plans, or at least make it a little less rigid? So if you were a part of management, or if you were a part of this company McDougall machine tools, and if this was happening within your company, as a manager, or as a top management, as a leadership, what would you do to make this culture little less rigid? And what do you think, how we can work on to eradicate such kind of things? Because as I said initially in this video, that diversity, inclusivity, discrimination, all these things is not just limited to age, race, gender, ethnicity, but it is also about what we speak and how we speak, how we call people, and how we give respect to people, even in informal, formal culture within an organization. It is not always about what we speak, but it is also about how we speak that matters. So when we say us and them, what do you think it impacts on certain employees in an organization? It is also a sort of differentiation and discrimination that a company is creating within the work environment of a company, organization. So as a manager, if you are part of this, what would you do? What steps would you take to, make it less rigid? Do let us know in the comment section below, and let's brainstorm on this. So I really hope that you enjoyed listening to this case study, and you got some insights, and triggered your mind that things that might be happening within your organization as well, which might be really, really little and small, but might affect certain employees on a larger level as well. So that's it for today's case study. If you want to listen to more such kind of case studies, stories, articles related to management, then stay tuned to this channel. And thank you for listening. See you next week.